Thank you for tuning into my video. This video is going to be about some of the common issues associated with the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 10 and the Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart. And yeah, let's get into it. Arguably the most important issue with the Ralliart and Evo, or I guess for drivability factor, would be the timing chain on the 2008 to 2010 Evo and Ralliarts. They have a tendency that the timing chain will stretch. And with the Evo and the Ralliart, they have the 4B11T motor, which is an interference motor, meaning if you jump timing, that your pistons and valves are going to get closely acquainted and basically run into each other, which isn't something you want to happen. And so what will happen with these stretched out chains is your tensioner will get to a fact that it gets completely maxed out and the chain starts getting sloppy. And then that's when you're gonna run into issues, because since the chain's sloppy, it's gonna have a tendency to like jump teeth and everything, and that's when you're gonna run into like blowing up your motor basically. And so you're most likely gonna want to check the timing chain at about 100,000, like similar to what you'd do if you were checking out a timing belt. The old chain number is MN183891, and the new chain is 1140A073, which was introduced in 2011. So the models 2011 past should have the new chain, while the old ones will not. But if you buy a new chain or get a new chain put in, it will be this new number now. The difference between the new chain and the old chain is that the old chain is kind of single links going across, while the new chain is like doubled up links to give it more strength, and it makes it so as it has less of a tendency, or well, quite a bit less of a tendency to actually stretch and cause issues with your motor. And here's a video of my timing chain after I checked it, and as you can see, it has a lot of slop in there. And then this photo after here shows how to check the chain. And if you look down from the I guess the belt side, or what would be the passenger side, if you look down there, if the chain is to the left of the mark, then it's not stretched enough and you're still safe to drive it. And if it's to the right of it, it's too stretched and it's going to run into the oiler for the chain, and it'll rip that off, and then you'll have issues with your chain. So that's one way to check. But if you check the top like that video and see there's a bunch of slop in it, it's most likely you should just get it changed, or that's a safe bet to get it changed. And the top guide in the video is also discontinued. You can put it back on if you have it. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. It's not necessary anymore. The next common issue is an issue that's not really fun to deal with, because it could leave you stranded if you ignore it, and it's mainly for places that have colder climates. And it's that the relays tend to freeze up, so they'll freeze up and become inoperative or just work intermittently. Like I've had times that you go to start your car and it will crank but it won't fire, and then you go to it the next day and it starts up perfectly fine. So it's usually the relays that will be this issue, and the new relays are orange, and the number for the orange ones is 8627A049. And the old ones are black, and those are little rectangles or whatever. And those relays are the fuel pump relay, injector relay, starter relay, throttle actuator control motor relay. And then the other relay you want to replace will be the MFI relay, or the Mitsubishi fuel injection relay, which is a big block or like square. And the old one is black and the new one is gray. I'm not entirely sure what the actual number for it is. But yeah, so it's always a safe bet to get those changed, even if you're not having issues. The newer ones should come with updated relays like that. Like I think 2012 past will come with the new relays already in them, but the older ones won't. And it's always a safe bet. Even if you have the new relays, you can always replace them as a safe precaution. Or if you're starting to have issues again, you can replace them and see if that clears up the issue. Because a lot of the times I had some updated relays, and I was having a bit of that issue, and then I replaced them all again, and it worked perfectly fine. The next issue here is more specific. It's only on the Evo 10 GSR, because the MR came with the SST transmission, as well as the Ralliart came with the SST transmission. So the manual GSR transmission, the clutch master cylinder has a tendency to fail. So it's hooked up to the firewall, and it's a little like plastic clutch master cylinder. So it has a tendency to either break away from the firewall, or just like break in general and suck air into the system. And so you'll go to push your clutch down to start the vehicle, put in gear, whatever, and the clutch will just stay on the floor. And that's not really something that you want to happen. If you have it's a little more prone to do that if you have an upgraded clutch, like a stronger clutch or whatever, but it can still do it with the stock setup. So it's just a safe precaution to you can get a upgraded clutch master cylinder, which will be metal instead of plastic, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be pretty similar, or like a lot of the packages are like a clutch adaptation of the Evo 9 or Evo 8 clutch master cylinder, which was metal and not plastic. Yeah, so if you don't want to get stranded having that issue and you have a GSR, that's a good upgrade to do, just for practicality, and that you don't run into that issue. The last issue I'm going to bring up is arguably the most famous issue that, well, even with some of the prior Evos, like the JDM Evo 9s and 8s, the AYC pump is a common failure on them, while on the Evo 10 and Ralliart especially. Mainly because they put the AYC pump, and this is for your, it'll be for your driving modes, tarmac, gravel, and snow. And basically all it does is it electronically controls clutches in your transfer case for the Evo and Ralliart. And just in the Evo, it also controls clutches in the rear diff to act kind of like a limited slip diff. Well, it is a limited slip differential, but it also is electronically controlled by this AYC pump to give you better traction to each wheel in different scenarios. And the reason that they tend to fail so much is they're placed right behind the rear right wheel. That's where the pump is, outside the vehicle. So all the road stuff that you kick up, salt, dirt, if you're in a cold climate, snow, all that gets caked up on there. And if you don't clean it properly, or it just happens sometimes that the seals get worn out from the salt and all the dirt and everything, and then it will leak and your AYC won't work. It'll go into safe mode, so you can't use that tarmac, gravel, or snow. It'll put into like a safe mode or whatever. Or also, the AYC pumps also have a tendency that if it's cold, they won't work properly. So I've had it where you start your car and that tarmac, gravel, or snow that you have up on the corner of your dash will start blinking, and it keeps blinking until the system is shown to be operating properly. And it usually takes a little bit, like if it's really cold, like -30, it'll usually take like a minute of me driving for it to actually stop blinking like that. But yeah, you can fix this by getting a pump relocation kit. And so a pump relocation kit will relocate it from underneath, I guess, your bumper, or like behind your right wheel, into your trunk, which is also where the reservoir is. So you have to move the reservoir up a little bit just so you don't get air in the system, and the pump will be bolted into your trunk. And they also have like the a lot of them come with fabric cutouts or whatever, so it matches your trunk, so it looks like how it should have from stock, which is something that they should have put in stock. But so it's not a super hard fix. You will have to bleed the system after you're done, but that's not a super huge issue. You can always get it done by Mitsubishi or whoever, but it's a lot better than having to pay, I think it's about $1,000 for a new pump, so it's a lot more worth it to actually get the relocation kit and not have to worry about that, because then it's out of the elements. It'll be a little bit warmer than it was, so you might not run into those issues in the cold. And yeah, like, you don't have to worry about getting a brand new pump like that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video, and please subscribe and and if you have any comments, leave some comments in the comments section, and see you next video.